What's up, my dudes? It's been a while since I made a gold video, but I wanted to share a couple things with you all that are going to provide you a deep understanding of how gold works in the ESO economy. Keep in mind as I talk through everything that I play on PCNA, so the values likely won't be the same if you aren't playing on PCNA. But the concepts I'll be talking about will still be the same. In a previous video of mine, I talked about gold generation and what that means. It's the points where gold is spontaneously generated into the economy, causing inflation. So, killing enemies, doing your daily writs, completing quests, etc. All of these actions introduce more gold into the ESO economy. So theoretically and realistically, the value of items will always be inflating over time. It's not like real life where the market can crash. All of that plays a big role in this next part. Since the gold value of items will always be increasing, that means holding items over time is going to increase how much gold you have over time as unrealized gold. Basically, you can treat in-game materials, emphasis on the materials part, like a stock that's guaranteed to grow in value over time. The reason armor and equipment doesn't follow the same trend is because they're continually being replaced by new meta sets and they lose value. I realize that all of that might be a bit confusing, but the point I'm trying to make is that holding your material items instead of selling them right away is a long-term investment that can grow, where just having gold in your pocket isn't going to do anything. A good example I can show you of this is the alchemy material Columbine. The price of Columbine just 2 years ago was 630 gold each, as you can see from the screenshot of one of my older videos. It's now at about 3,800 gold each 2 years later. The value of this item and many other items are about 6 times the value of what they were those 2 years ago. Who knows what they'll be worth 2 years from now. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. I'm not trying to tell you how to play or how to handle your items, but if you're looking to get more gold, buying high value items to sell later is a good way to do it. That's just something I learned in my experience playing the game, and I've made plenty of gold doing so as someone who's played since the game was released. Taking another look into how much gold has inflated in the last 2 years, I conducted a test. With inflation taking place, it also means the value of Tel Var stones has also increased in that same 2-year time period. Roughly 2 years ago, I made a video about Tel Var and purchased 100,000 Tel Var stones worth in apothecary parcels and sold them all as alchemy ingredients. This equaled out to about 1 million gold. Well, I conducted that exact same test. The results were pretty interesting. After purchasing and opening all of the apothecary parcels, the value came out to be 2.3 million gold, which means if I had held on to the Tel Var from the previous video to this point in time, I would have made an extra 1.3 million gold. So yes, hold on to your Tel Var if your goal is to make more gold off of it. With all of that said, obviously, if you're trying to make gold, you're going to sell it at some point, right? That's really just up to you. I personally got in the habit of holding all of my items until I have a need for gold. And as someone who hasn't delved into furnishing yet, that really hasn't been a problem. Before I end this video, I want to talk about some other things that have changed behind the scenes that you may not be aware of. Firstly, the value of crafted equipment sets have dropped a fair bit over time as more and more master crafters begin to use it as a source of gold income. For the most part, the majority of crafted equipment is now selling for just above the value of the materials required to craft and upgrade them, as you can see from these Order's Wrath items that are up for sale. However, the value of the PvP equipment sets you can purchase in Cyrodiil are still bringing in some insane amounts of gold. Since they're an RNG based drop, the weapons for some of these sets are selling up in the millions, as you can see from my Plague Break maces. So if you're trying to figure out what to spend alliance points on, these sets provided at the elite vendor are a good bet. Many of the armor pieces with the Divine's trait also sell for high value, so keep an eye out for that. The last thing I want to share is pretty interesting and has to do with new materials and items that are introduced. With new items, you really want to be selling them as soon as they come out. The reason being is that the value drops off super fast on them, but everyone that's selling them early makes insane profits. A great example is the glass eye of Mora. Just 2 or 3 months ago, the glass eye of Mora was selling at about 33,000 each. It's now at about 25,000 each. Over time, it will continue to drop to a certain point and then bounce back and start increasing with gold inflation. I know that was a relatively short video, but I find it interesting just how much the value of gold is changing over time in the game. I hope this helped you gain a better understanding of how to handle your items and keep making that cash money. If you have any questions about the topic I discussed, feel free to drop a comment and I'll be glad to help you out. And with that, I'll see you in the next one, my dudes.